Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Hello and welcome everybody. Yes, even you to the Top Tier Wrestling Podcast. I am your well-meaning host with heel-like tendencies, Hacksaw Don Duggan, joined as always by the cerebral assassin Will Josh Spray. We're here to talk about Monday Night Raw for June 23rd, and man, it's been a minute, folks, so we should just get on in it.
Yeah, I think I'm done taking bumps from staircases. That was a shoot injury, y'all, but I'm doing better.
The cerebral stare assassin.
Yeah, triple stare. So tonight's show. What?
I'm just laughing. Laughing at the image.
So this episode of Raw opens up immediately with Seth freaking Rollins and Rollins band. I don't know what that stable's calling
Rollins
itself.
band.
I heard.
I'm sure it's gonna be something real clever. Because I mean, what did you hear? Go ahead. You're about to say exactly.
I had heard
Uh-huh.
that the tag team of Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed were calling themselves the Bronsons, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
No, that's fairly terrible. Did you think of that in the first 10 seconds of trying? Because that's terrible.
Yeah, like that is they either took too many hits or not enough hits before they came up with that particular group name. Like that could have been like a smoke sesh that happened, and like an hour into it, they were like, "I got it, the Bronsons," and they're like, "Whoa!" That or
Yeah.
they were like, "I don't know, one hit, the Bronsons, yeah, sure." Either way, it's wrong. Don't do that. Come up with something else.
There's nearly an infinite amount of other possibilities for both naming that entire stable. I mean, it's not as convenient as the Bloodline.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a better tag team name for Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker than the Bronsons. Come on.
Yeah. Have you guys tried the Death Riders? I'm kidding.
Do better. No, Jesus, please don't. Actually, the funny thing is I hear a lot of people saying Seth Rollins is just duplicating the Bloodline, and I can see it. You know, I see, because Paul Heyman's there and you're building a stable. The comparison is there, but I think he's doing a better job of being the Death Riders than the Death Riders over on AEW.
I agree, and I mean, what exactly are you supposed to do for that? Because I mean, any stable that comes along now will be duplicating the Bloodline with that logic.
Yeah. I think the obvious comparisons is that I think some of the wrestlers, I think Sammy may have even pointed out, oh, you're building your own little bloodline here, right? So put it out there. And two, I mean, Paul Heyman is, a big fulcrum in it. So you can, now he's your Wiseman. You're just Roman Reigns all over again. So I can see how people are getting there, but I also agree, you're right. Like, anybody putting together a dominant stable will necessarily be compared to the Bloodline. I mean, but again, I personally think it's almost like a little jab from Seth to Jon Moxley that he's got a stable that is taking over more dominantly than his.
Yeah,
and I know Mox would be like, well, I'm already the champion. He's just Money in the Bank guy. And it's like, yeah, but your whole stable was supposed to be taking over, and it never did. It never got there.
Yeah,
and Seth is already closer to that than the Death Riders with a year head start has become.
Yeah. It's pretty lame. Um,
And it doesn't have the burden of carrying questionable white supremacist undertones.
I mean, you ain't wrong. No one's come out and started speaking German, yelling at. I'm like, boy, if I were German, I'd be like, please stop. Don't. Can we
Yeah,
not?
it's not a good look. Like most of you in this stable, especially when you grabbed up I got was something kid from New Japan. Gabe,
Yeah,
Gabe? Is it Gabe
Gabe.
Kid?
Yeah, I
Gabe
think it
Kid.
is. Yeah,
So now
yeah,
3 of your members are white bald guys, and one of them speaks German, and it's not good. It's not good. It's
yeah,
too, and people drew parallels to Moxley quoting from like the European version of American History X. It was bad. It's bad. It's not a good look. It's failing on
yeah.
so many fronts, and I hope when if when hopefully Hangman kicks his ass, that just all goes away. I'm so over the Death Riders,
I'm hoping.
and
Yeah.
that I think is where I want to leave it because we are talking about Raw, but
Hmm.
it's a worthwhile comparison to make because Seth is already doing better with his stable that is taking over.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, even if it's by accident or not, the fact that people see similarities between uh Seth's new stable and the bloodline kind of works in Seth's benefit. It's a flex, and it's
Yeah,
also a jab to the past champion Roman Reigns, the past head of the table. It's a jab at him, and it's a jab at John Moxley over there in AEW, who's trying to do the exact same thing, who has had nearly twice as long, if much longer, to establish his stable, and just can't get nowhere. I mean, he's a joke. He comes out walking like a cartoon dog from Tom and Jerry. Um, he needs help every single chance he gets. Whereas the difference is Seth comes in and usually picks off what somebody from his faction or his stable has already destroyed. And sometimes he didn't even have to come in and touch him at all. He just comes out and talks smack while the 2 dominant dudes in his group lay waste to everyone. Doesn't matter if they won the match or not. And it's not just we're going to come out there and do one elbow or everybody's going to kick you in the face one time and then walk out. They destroy their opponents. That's the huge difference. Huge difference. Seth has
yeah,
come out and talk. When he talks, he says what he's going to say, then he's done. But does he come out there and talk every time? No. Does he come out there and fight every time? No. Sometimes he just comes out with his little suit and does maybe one stump and then goes back. Like, listen,
yeah.
you guys, I don't know if you guys think he's winning or losing at this, but I'm telling you, I am much more into this particular faction than I am with what's happening with the Death Riders. And I know we're not supposed to be doing a comparison, or that wasn't the point of this. We were talking about the promo for Seth Rollins, but it's kind of hard not to talk about how I
Yeah.
think he's dominating this particular uh role or
Well, and
character.
it's all right there because now every former member of the Shield is taking a shot at this faction that's going to dominate their respective industry. Roman's
Yeah.
already done it, and he's done it in such a way that good luck to anybody else, let
Yeah.
alone the other former members of the Shield being able to duplicate his results. And I agree it's a ding on Roman, but it's also an homage, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you did worked, so I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna just try and outdo it. Um, but yeah, and in either case, Seth and Roman have already demolished what Moxley attempted to do over in AEW. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying all that to ding AEW, but unfortunately, Moxley in general, like, and his stable are just not, they're not working. Um, whereas Seth is not suffering that problem. His stable is already looking like it's the death machine. I mean, Seth Rollins by himself is an exceptionally dangerous competitor. And
Yeah.
then you add Braun Breaker, who is just had rocket boots strapped to his ass. And I know some people would be like, well, yeah, because he's Steiner's kid. Yeah, you can cry Nepo baby, but Breaker brings the talent. He might have gotten in the door for being a Steiner kid,
Yeah.
but he's had to stay in his position and rise through his
Yeah.
talent. And he's absolutely doing so. And
I
then you
agree.
got big Bronson Reed, who absolutely did what, to mention the name that shall not be mentioned, but what Vince McMahon used to ask superstars or require them to do, which is grab the brass ring. He decided he wanted at the top of the card and took the spot
Yeah.
against Seth Rollins. And now who's he working with? Right. So Bronson stepped up. And so this is a dominant stable just on its face.
Yeah. Yep.
And everything they've done since has helped push in that direction. Like Seth immediately started going after the world title. It didn't work out. So what did he set his sights on next? The Money in the Bank. And now he has it. So, it isn't just all talk. And he has shown up with his stable on Raw, on SmackDown, anywhere he needs to be, making his presence known so that we definitely get the vibe that he means it and they are taking over.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed with this stable. The only thing I've got on them is that the Bronsons is a stupid name, and Seth Rollins hasn't yet named his stable anything catchy that they can put on a shirt.
Yeah.
But the other
And he
thing
should
that I
do
think
that soon.
he should, the other thing that I really think helps, and this promo is part of that, is that a whole lot of what Seth is saying, on top of what he's doing, all lines up. Like there's no lie in the stuff he says. When
Mm-mm.
he comes out and he's hitting this promo and he's talking about how, I'm getting mixed signals from you, WWE Universe, because they start, they sing his song, but then they immediately chant like CM Punk or OTC. And he
Yeah.
says, he goes on to make a point how he's been at the heart of every significant thing that the people are cheering for. You like the OTC, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. I made Roman Reigns, Seth says. CM Punk, my hatred for CM Punk is what makes him significant. World Heavyweight Championship, I was the first. NXT Championship, I was the first there too. All the top talent fighting for the King of the Ring, they're all chasing second place because, and he points at his Money in the Bank briefcase. When it's all said and done, Seth's going to be on top. And none of that is a lie. Like there's a
No.
lot of braggadocio that a lot of people can say that's like, okay, you're just talking shit, but Seth is spitting facts. So it's very, I know he's trying to be a heel, but he is not wrong about anything that he says here.
Nope.
So, that all adds up to Seth Rollins is in fact successfully taking over.
Yeah.
So I felt like this was a strong promo and opener for him at the beginning of this show.
I thought it was a great flex. It was definitely a flex of the night. I'm telling you, I think he's doing a great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is every bit the architect.
Yeah. I got no complaints. I was a little nervous at first because I thought that they were not going to make them look as dominant as as they have been. But no, I think they've been doing. I think WWE, the writers involved, whomever, I think they've been doing a pretty good job at keeping this stable dominant. Because I mean, like you could either make or break these dudes with how you treat the characters here.
Yep. And what was on SmackDown, I think it was, we just watched them utterly destroy LA Knight. Like demolished. Like he
Yeah,
got what, like 3, 4 tsunamis and is now apparently out because of separated rib cartilage.
yeah,
So they've taken out one of the top guys. Um, and that made, I guess that was making Bronson look very dominant. And I think we're about to see Braun Breaker do the same.
yeah. They got to do something. They got to do something with Big Bronson Reed. Like Breaker comes out and everybody's barking. Uh, Seth comes out and everybody's singing his song. But whenever Big Bronson Reed comes out, The audience is just like, yeah, that
Yeah.
guy too.
Yeah, Seth has his choir of converts from when he was the Messiah, and they sing his
Yeah.
song. And you're right, the dogs are barking. So now I don't know what would Big Bronson Reed have, like his tsunami-ites or
Yeah. Like, I don't know. What noise would they make? What would they do? I don't know. They gotta come up with something though. They gotta come up
yeah.
with something.
But I mean, he's right
Even
there
Paul
standing.
Heyman's got something.
He
My
does.
name is Paul. Hey,
Hmm.
like, but nothing. They got nothing for my for my man. He's just big, and
Yeah,
he's
and he's
just
Bronson and he's
and
Reed.
he's just yeah. That's it. Ba-da-bum, done.
Yeah, yeah. If he can get a catchphrase or name his fans a thing that's catchy, some of that stuff. You're right. He absolutely could use that.
Yeah,
As well as a little bit of mic time because when Bronson Reed cuts a promo, he in the past has done a phenomenal job.
he
So
has.
it's
I
not like
agree.
he can't talk. So, but that leads us into our first match, which is Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman at ringside versus Pinta El Cero Miedo.
Yeah, look, I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. I love me some Penta. I think WWE has so far done a pretty good job at presenting him to the audience. I think he's up. I think the audience loves him. They love his little shtick. They love his little strut. Uh, they love his little Zero Miedo fist bump. Um, but boy howdy, what needed to happen, in my opinion, was Braun Breaker needed to come into that ring, no interference, no help, because he don't need no help, and just dominate that match. And I feel like that's what had happened.
I'm inclined to agree on all fronts. Um, because it can't just be that the only way this stable wins is because of interference.
No,
Right,
no, no.
because it doesn't need that. Like that undermines that Braun and Seth and Bronson are all forces to be reckoned with enough on their own. And
Yeah,
Breaker absolutely is. So it's good that just to kind of cut to the chase here. Braun Breaker ends up winning against Penta after a very solid match, by the way, between both men looked very good.
yeah.
And he basically Penta goes for a springboard crossbody, and Braun Breaker anti-air spears the life out of him for the pin.
Yes.
And so it was a very dominant victory for Braun Breaker.
Yeah,
And I agree with you. And I think the reason we need to see some dominance from this group is yes, they're the heels, but you have to make sure everyone knows they're dangerous or the threat dissipates,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, I hate to do it, but take a look at Death Riders. I can't remember a match that they've had where someone in that faction didn't interfere. I'm not saying that if you are someone in a faction that you shouldn't have teammates to assist. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying every single match, bro, you're either dominant or you're not. I can understand your dominance in the ring not being challenged. You throw somebody out the ring, or you get the ref's attention, and then one of your little partners out there on the apron fucks him up a little bit. I get that, right? Yeah, cool. That's just a little shot. We don't need to, but fuck you. I get that. But whenever it hinges, like, if whenever the match and you winning hinges on whether or not somebody can come in and pull one over on the ref, or hit the or something to assist you. If that happens every single time and we don't see you as dominant, then we see you as one of those rat heel factions. And I mean, that if that's what you're going for, cool. But if you got powerhouse wrestlers in your faction or in your group, and they've been dominant, but then they join your group and now they can't do anything without an assist, that looks really,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
not a good flex.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. Because if you have to have help to win your matches every single time, it tacitly conveys the opposite of the idea that you cannot win a match without help, which
Yeah,
just makes you look like a bitch. So I agree with you on all fronts, and
yeah,
that's why it was good that Breaker, like, there wasn't even any interference that I recall from Paul Heyman at all. Like, he was just standing there being a cheerleader, and
yeah,
Breaker just straight up whooped Penta.
yeah. And I think that is how that should have gone.
Fully
I
agree.
mean, to keep your faction dominant in appearance, then that is definitely how that should have gone.
Well, and certainly to keep each individual member dominant, right?
Yeah,
Like the Judgment Day is dangerous because you're always dealing with five of them. But on
yeah,
any given night, you feel like, well, any one of them isn't so good that they can't get their asses whooped. So they need it. They need that. Even poor
yeah,
Finn Balor. But that's not the way this particular faction needs to be pitched, because Breaker and Reed and Seth are all world champions. It's a faction of world champions that you're dealing
yeah,
with.
yeah,
So it needs to remain firmly in the sights of the WWE universe that on any given night, any one of these guys is a force to be reckoned with, let alone if you get more of them out at ringside, you're just screwed. You're
yeah,
dead.
yeah. I feel real good with how that match went, and it didn't shit can Penta. He still looked good. He still had his dominant moments, but all in all, at the end of the day, that's the new phrase that the young folks are saying. No, I'm just like Braun Breaker. Uh, Braun Breaker. I think he brought it. Uh, and I
Yeah.
thought it was a good looking match.
And Breaker, to his credit, and to not bury Penta, was still selling that his brain was ringing from the Mexican destroyer that he managed to kick out of, even when he was trying to get his hand raised by the ref.
Yeah,
So yeah, a very solid match and a very good depiction, because I think you're teetering on a thin line between that danger of like, oh, see, now they can only win if they interfere. And they did a great job here of conveying precisely what they needed to convey, and that is that Breaker, with help, is absolutely invincible, but Breaker all on his own is still a mighty force to be reckoned with. He's no
yeah,
joke.
yeah. And after that match, Seth comes out. He congratulates Breaker, gives him a couple of treats. Um, and then
Pets
he
the dog.
he yeah he put, gives him the back behind the ear scritch. And then Rollins addresses Penta, who is still in the ring, uh, very hurt from the spear, and tells him to stay out of his way. Rollins tells Penta to stay out of his way.
Yeah, but Penta's
And
got cero miedo, so he, even
yeah,
amidst coughing from his broken ribs from that spear,
yeah,
he's like, "No,
yeah, he was still yelling at it, like, no, get out of my face. Like he was
that's Penta's voice going forward."
that's it right there. Nailed it. Um yeah. You guys thought like, oh shit, top tier got Penta on their fucking pot. I know. Sorry, I'm
Cero
sorry.
miedo.
I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. Sorry, but it's just I'm just too good at it. All right. Anyway, just in case there are some of you who don't understand what happened, Penta lost, Breaker won. After which, we
Hmm.
were informed that Liv Morgan will be out of action for a few months. She for real deal did hurt her shoulder. Um,
Boo, boo to that.
yeah, boo to that. But like I said earlier, this might end up working in Judgment Day's favor as far as pushing that storyline along with Perez and the rest of the
True.
Judgment Day. Yeah. Um. After that, we got Adam Pierce in his office crying, and AJ Styles showed up, handed him a napkin, and Then Pierce had to tell AJ that they're gonna have to postpone his Intercontinental Championship match at Night of Champions because apparently Dominic Mysterio is injured. Uh,
He
AJ
sprained
Styles,
his mustache.
AJ Styles is convinced that his mustache was sprained. And then he tells him that Dominic is ducking him. So he's
What?
gonna make
No.
sure. Yeah,
What?
what?
Nah,
He's gonna
dirty
make,
bum. He's hardcore, man. He's been to prison. What's he got to duck
yeah.
you for, AJ? Come
I
on now.
look. I was thinking the same thing. I just don't want to call AJ out because I want to be respectful to my elders and whatnot. But yeah, no, I felt the same way. I think I don't know if AJ's an elder. You know what? Damn it, he's my elder. Shut up. Um, After that, he said, AJ said that he was going to make sure that Dominic was actually injured. And Pierce tells AJ to trust him. He'll be first in line when Dominic is medically cleared to compete.
Yeah, that
While,
that seems like an unnecessary level of workplace violence there, AJ. Why don't you calm
yeah,
down?
calm down, man. Let the dude heal up so that you can have a worthy competitor. Do you wanna
Yeah.
cheat to win?
Yeah, I
Goodness.
mean, what are you talking to Karrion Cross?
Hey, chomping at the bit right here, Settle down. Yeah, exactly. Who
Mm-hmm.
who's been in your ear hole there? AJ, no, don't answer that. I don't like that. Anyway, um, I don't like that at all. After this, the New Day struts up with they found their own puppy, Grayson Waller. Uh, and the New Day, wanted to pitch an idea for a photo shoot to Pierce, but Pierce would rather talk about a match that he made for next week. And boy, when he brought up a match, their response was hilarious.
It
Just
was. It was.
the
They were
shock
like,
and disgust. It was shock and disgust, and how dare you? They were, yeah, it was dramatic. But
yeah.
anyway,
And they make sure that Pierce is aware that he's bald.
yes, to make sure that don't forget that you are very, very bald. And you
Bald
have,
as Ricochet.
yeah, bald as Ricochet. So yeah, Waller, uh, apparently is now a part of the New Day, or he's tagging along. So he warned Pierce to be a bit more respectful to the New Day, or some dumb shit. Um, but I don't even think Pierce was bothered by that, because I mean, it's Waller. Where Austin is, I don't know. Austin was probably off somewhere crying or on the phone talking about how difficult he is and how he's tired of his bullshit. I'm sick of bullshit. I like
Man, it seems to me that Austin and Waller have broken up.
I don't even care who he's hanging out with. He can go hang out with New Day only once, okay? Just have a good time. That was Austin, guys.
And I didn't. Man, we had Penta and Austin both on the show today,
I'm
guys. Like,
telling you,
respect.
respect and eyes. Top tier is moving on up. So handle that. Now, if you guys want to be bored or if you feel like taking a nap, do so as we tell you about the Goldberg interview. Um, um,
You want to take a nap? You're next.
yeah, go ahead, get your pillow ready. Actually, I'll be brief, and if you want to add something to this, please feel free. Um, it was just Michael Cole talking to Goldberg, and I could care less. But um, he's basically trying to come up with a reason for why he wants to have this match. Um, because he was disrespected. He was just there to watch the show, and Gunther picked on him and embarrassed him in front of his wife, which I'm sure she was not embarrassed. Or I'm sure, I'm certain this woman was. Certain that she can live. And but his kid
Mhm.
though, his kid, he also embarrassed him in front of his kid. So now I get it. I guess.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
never look at Bill the same way again.
yeah, they look at him with shame and disgust now. So like they don't like. Yeah, Shane.
Oh man. Oh, I'm about to get messy, but
Uh-oh.
hey Bill, if they didn't look at you with shame and disgust after your match with Undertaker, I think you're fine. Nothing
Shots
Gunter
fired.
did will come anywhere near that.
Shots fired.
Indeed. I guess that makes me next.
Oh no. No.
Yeah, I think you summarized that pretty well. Like it was a long-winded way of him saying payback was inevitable for his disrespect for Gunter's disrespect of Bill in front of his family at Bad Blood.
Yeah.
And then the final little piece that was worth noting is that Goldberg confirmed that this will in fact be his final match, so it creates an interesting dilemma should he win the title. And by interesting dilemma, you mean it makes very little sense. Um
Yeah.
I,
And they're
s- I
just trying.
see I see only a couple of options should that happen. Like if he doesn't win the title, then it's whatever. Gunter keeps going. If he does win the title, then it would be very Goldberg fashion to relinquish it and put over no one as he leaves.
Yeah.
Um, and the final outcome of either way it goes, I could see this being a good opportunity to have Seth attempt to cash in,
Yeah.
which would make
I
the
mean,
most sense. If Goldberg happens to
yes.
win and Seth cashes in, then that would make the most sense. But that's by no means a guarantee that WWE will do that. Just because it makes the most sense does not mean, and in fact, these days, Triple H seems to like the idea of swerve because we want to make everybody who guessed right on the internet suck it.
Yeah. So, I I'm not looking forward to this match, and no matter what they do,
What?
no matter what they do, it's gonna make me. And this is aside from the fact that they gave Gunther the belt again in a very lackluster ending to a Gunther versus Jey Uso match, title match. Um, Aside from that, what we're looking at here is just so. Uh, First of all, it's for main event, which if you guys can go back in time and find me a main event where a belt was moved, uh, please let me know. I will just let me know. Let me know. Um, so there's that. And the most exciting thing they could do is what you said, is let Goldberg win the belt. But think about that. You're gonna let 58-year-old retired WWE Hall of Famer, excuse me, I hurt to say that. Hall of,
Oh, oh, your throat.
let me try to say it again. Hall
No, no, no.
Goldberg. You're gonna let 58-year-old WWE Goldberg win against Gunther. When the originally the story for Gunther getting that belt, everybody was hoping, oh well, maybe it was so that he could have a more dominant run this time. So you're gonna let him win the belt in a lackluster match, like a lackluster ending against Jey Uso, just so you could let him lose the match, his first title defense. Regardless of the story, this is what you're about to do to Gunther. If that's the case. First title defense for that belt again, and he loses it to a 58-year-old retired Hall of Fame wrestler. What?
Yeah.
Just so you guys could have Seth come out and do his thing and then take the belt off of Goldberg. If that were the storyline. That would be, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the best option.
Well,
I
it's either
honestly feel
that.
like that's the best option. It's either that
Yeah.
or we're gonna have a nothing match where Gunther's going to win. But either way, if Gunther wins that belt, if Seth don't come out and go for that, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like that's
Yeah.
the
No,
only way
I,
that this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you because Gunter kind of eats it here if we do the interesting thing.
Yeah.
And based on some stuff I've heard online, so rumors, Triple H wanted this to be a title match to counter program against AEW All In. And
Good
so
luck. How is
if
that? That
that's
is not counter. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, I agree. But if that's the thought process, then you have to also go for the most interesting outcome if you want
Yeah.
to legitimately counter program against All In. Which means your most interesting outcome buries Gunter one way or the other. And this poor guy has just been eating pie, like
Yep.
humble pie. So he's either going to lose to Goldberg, and Goldberg's going to drop the title to a Seth cash in. If not that night, then the first Raw back where he comes out and he's all like, "Well, that was my final match, so I'm going to relinquish." And he's, he just hands it to Seth, or Seth comes
Yeah.
out and mobs him and takes it from him. He's either going to do it that night or he's going to do it on the Raw after, if that's the case. Alternatively, Gunter squeaks by with a win, but he's eaten like 3 spears and a jackhammer, so he's freaking obliterated. So it was a squeak by victory, in which case Seth comes out and buries him. So Gunter has no good look coming out of this, as far as I can see, unless you're going to do the most uninteresting thing, which is just have Gunter straight beat Goldberg, and then there's no cash in attempts, and that's it.
Well, this is main event, so I think that's exactly what's gonna happen.
But that's possible. The last Saturday night main event was absolutely atrocious. So
Yeah.
it's fair to have low expectations for this next one. But
I
again,
mean, I'm
if the
not, and
thought
I don't even.
process,
I'm sorry. I don't even mean to talk smack about the show necessarily. It's just, guys, when has a belt moved on main event? Go all the way back to when it first came out in the 80s. When did a belt move?
yeah, yeah, no, it's rare if ever.
It,
And
it this
so
is this is a filler show. You guys remember Naruto? Remember that whole like 6 months of a season where there was nothing but like filler
filler,
episodes? This, my friend, is a filler episode for WWE. It
yeah.
it is. It is.
But if the thought process is in fact, between Nick Khan and Triple H, they're trying to counter program All In. The only way that this becomes that, like something where it's like, oh snap, would be the scenario in which Goldberg manages to squeak by a victory, which puts us in that interesting dilemma space, and everyone's like, oh, where do we go from here? And then 2 seconds later, we find out because Seth cashes in on Goldberg. That is the most interesting that this match has a possibility of becoming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. And that's the only, I mean, anything else would just be lamer.
I agree.
But
But they
otherwise,
painted themselves into this corner. Like they've
they did.
made this bed. So, but then hey, what do we know, right? Everything even works. So,
Everything's a work, and according to Triple H, all of us internet people can, what did he say? Go fuck ourselves.
yeah,
So,
something like that.
you know, it is what it is. But yeah, that's really the only way this match becomes interesting, because on its face, um I think especially amongst the more savvy internet WWE fans over the years, we've really sort of fallen out of love with Goldberg because he's performed badly.
Yeah.
Like, in the ring, he gave The Undertaker the worst match The Undertaker's ever had. And that's not even the whole story. So I don't know who was chomping at the bit for Goldberg's final match other than Goldberg. Uh, but I just don't feel like there's much heat here, or interest, and I don't know that they have that much faith in it being that hot or interesting either, because they're sticking it on Saturday night main event.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is what it is. It's not one I'm super hyped for, but maybe they'll surprise me, and do the interesting thing that we've outlined.
Yep. Yeah. And even God, even they know. They know. They know that they've painted themselves in. I hope they do. But again, we could be getting worked somehow. I don't know. Uh, after that, we were also uh we all were also told that Cole had a 30-minute interview with Goldberg. that could be eventually found on WWE digital platforms if you feel like going to sleep for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
if you need a power nap, that's your
yeah,
option.
if you're at work and you have like an hour long lunch and you ate in 20 and now you just want to take a 30-minute nap and then wake up and have 10 minutes to spare, you want to turn this on and listen to this, and I'm pretty sure you'll pass out immediately.
Yep, a
Uh,
more powerful go to sleep than anything CM Punk can do.
well, he's got those little knees, you know, those little those little
The bony
knobbly
ones.
knees. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't injured himself doing that move. Could you
I
imagine
mean,
he does his
give it
finisher
time.
and then cracks his knee or like dislocates his knee?
I would be wildly unsurprised.
I'm going to
Um,
not give him any shit right now because, as I've said before, you guys, a lot has happened since last we've done a podcast. And all I want to say is right now, I'm up on CM Punk. That's it. That's it. That's all. Will you get me to sing a song? No. I might sing the song when it's not his entrance because I like the song, but I'm not gonna sing it because it's his. Okay. But I might give him like one it's clobbering time like once a month. That's it.
hey, he did cut a good promo on John
Golden.
Cena last
Golden
week,
promo. Yeah. But
and
then John
also
Cena
last
did
week.
cut
Yep,
a ridiculous promo
yeah, he
on
grabbed the
CM
pipe
Punk.
bomb, picked it up, and threw it back at him with extra stank on it.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah.
So if nothing else comes from CM Punk Cena, and I don't have high hopes based on the matches Cena's been putting on of late, um, we at least got some cool promos out of it.
Yeah, this is true.
But moving on from the snooze that was Goldberg's interview with Michael Cole, we are brought backstage to the Judgment Day clubhouse, uh, where Finn is tired of everybody sulking because Liv Morgan's hurt. He tells Dom that he's going to show AJ Styles why they call him Dirty Dom, and I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't want to put that
not
in
when
my
you phrase
spirit.
it like that. He tells Roxy Perez that she's going to become the queen of the ring. I'm doubtful there, but hey, optimism's good. And he says that he and JD are going to get the tag titles back to the Judgment Day this next week against what is it, New Day Down Under now.
Yeah. Bleh, I hate it.
So Finn tells everybody to cheer up, and Raquel's unsure what Adam and Nick are gonna like. Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are going to do regarding the women's tag titles. And Finn's like, "Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it." But sitting here complaining all day is not going to solve anything. And Raquel gets all uppity because he called her out for bitching. And then when she gets uppity, he says, "Good, Raquel, channel that shit. Channel that anger that
Uh,
you're feeling right now towards Rhea Ripley. Because she came out and bodied you last week. You gonna let her do that?" And Raquel's like, "No." And he says, "Are you the good little enforcer?" And she's like, "Yeah." And
oh
so
my god.
playing her like a fiddle, she goes out to the middle of the ring um to go call down her own brutality upon herself, which we will address in just a moment. And Dom says something about missing Liv, and Roxanne immediately says everything's going to be okay,
Yeah,
which
back
just
She
adds
Devil.
which adds to Roxy Perez's story arc of basically replacing Liv, both in the Judgment Day and apparently, I don't know, with Dom. Ugh, barf. Um, and Finn's like, "Oh, by the way, Dom, Roxanne has a match tonight." And Dom's like, "Oh, tonight?" I'm like, "What, dude, are you new?" And he's like, "Well, good luck in your match." And it's like, Bert. So
Uh,
that was the Judgment Day's little segment. Um, Following that, we have Lyra Valkyria running into Bailey backstage, and she says to her that she wants to wish her good luck in her championship match and apologizes for how weird their interaction was last week. And Bailey's like focused on this very important match that she has coming up. So she's like, "All right, we're cool. All right, we're fine. It's good. I'm focused on this match." And Lyra's like, "Well, I just want to make sure we're good." And she's like, "We're good. fuck off.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much
So,
like they're about to get into an argument, but then Bailey was like, "Okay, I gotta squash this shit real quick because I need to focus on my match." Yeah, essentially, um, and Lyra was kind of like, "I mean, are you sure? I mean, you know."
yeah, exactly.
And Bailey's like, "Woman, please." So yeah, that's pretty much how that went.
And that leads us into the second match of the night, which is Jade Cargill versus Roxy Perez in a semi-final round match of the Queen of the Ring tournament. And what did you think of this match?
I thought it was a really good match. Um, until but I don't want to I don't want to get ahead of myself. Now, Jade has improved. And I think she's improved greatly from her AEW days. From her when she first started out here in WWE. I have seen improvement, especially when she was doing stuff with Bianca. I kind of feel like they made each other better. Because I saw some really good stuff coming out of Bianca around about that time too.
Yeah.
Um, the problem that I have with Jade though is her hits look light, like her hits look like a non-issue. And she's still kind of clunky. Like
Yes. Yeah.
I think she did good. I think she did real good in the match with Roxanne, and I am in no way trying to downplay any improvement that I've seen in her. But I'm saying I feel like she still needs a little bit more work. She's done a great stride with how she looks when she takes uh hits from her opponent, because beforehand it was looking real fake. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like her selling could have been better.
yeah, like it's already disbelief illusion to to put it in your head that someone the size of Roxanne can punch Jade and Jade would stumble. Like we're already stretching our field of reality to make that a thing. So, her having to sell it, or her selling it well, is important. And I think she's doing better there. But she still looks clunky, a little sometimes a little goofy. And I don't know if that's because it's just, she looks so um she looks so much like a superhero versus just like a regular human. If that God, I hope I'm not saying this in an offensive way, but um
I think you're nailing it. Like she looks like Storm from the X-Men, which is something I think
yeah,
she deliberately tries to evoke, and she absolutely comes out looking like a superhero slash action figure.
yeah. And I don't understand. I don't know why it seems to be so much more difficult for a wrestling promotion, any promotion, to make larger female competitors look dominant against smaller female competitors. Um, they can do it just fine with guys. Uh, and they can even, in many cases, make it look believable when a smaller competitor takes down a larger one, like Adam Cole versus I don't know, give me a big guy, Brian Cage. Um, they can make that believable. They can make, because I mean, we know the first thing Adam Cole is going to do is rely heavily on his legs because he's not a big guy, which I've
Yeah, all
always
those
thought was
super kicks.
smart. Yeah, so he's going to super kick that guy into the dirt. He's like that guy. Until his brain is putty, and then he's going to go in for the attack. Um, I don't know what it is. I mean, I think they do it well enough with some female wrestlers like Naya. Um, but and sometimes with Bianca, but like usually, I feel like it comes off a bit more tedious for them to make larger female competitors look dominant against smaller female competitors, and I think it's kind of important that they get that under control because there are very few large female competitors versus average sized women. They got to
Yeah.
fight somebody. So,
I I think you're speaking to a bigger problem that I see in the WWE, and that is larger opponents. A lot of times they de facto rely on making them seem stupid or slow.
yeah. Now they do that with the men too.
Yeah, no, that's why I said
But
it's a
yeah,
problem writ large.
yes, yeah. I think I was saying that more to myself because I had focused mainly on larger women versus smaller
Mm.
women. But overall, yes, that is a huge problem.
Yeah, and we see that. I agree with you that we saw some of that here tonight with Cargill, and we have seen that relentlessly with their depiction of Raquel Rodriguez. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't love it, like, because a lot of times these, like the opposite is, like, you've got Braun Breaker, who is an absolute powerhouse. Now he's not the biggest guy, he's not 7 foot, right? But he is a combination of speed and power that is lethal. And they did that also with back when we were allowed to mention him and he was acknowledged as existing, Brock Lesnar. Because as powerful and as wide and huge as Brock was, he was never depicted as slow.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
And in this match against Perez, I felt like some of Cargill's moves looked like they were occurring in slow motion,
Yeah. Yeah.
particularly some of the pump kicks. Like those looked like she was just throwing them at like quarter speed.
Yeah.
And so I agree. There's a stiffness that's being portrayed with Cargill, and almost like an uncertainty. And I know they're still trying to depict that like she's a relative rookie. She is in the WWE. And generally speaking, she's only like 2 or 3 years into her career. But I mean, there's a point where you've got her actually looking like she's backsliding from where we saw her when she was working, as you mentioned, with Bianca Belair in a tag team.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that happens. I mean, yeah, I don't understand it. But she looks like some of the things that she's doing, she either looks like she's uncertain or trying to work to make sure that she doesn't hurt these significantly smaller women. And so it looks too pulled, too slow. And
Yeah. Yep.
then when I guess it's her time to shine, she suddenly remembers that she can easily spine bust, choke slam, and power bomb this woman that is like a quarter of her size. But it's like, the last 5 minutes of the match should have been the entire match because this, slow motion Jade Cargill ain't doing her any favors.
Yeah.
Just to kind of spoil how this goes, it's Jade Cargill like giving Perez a fighting chance so that Perez can get in some of her shit. And Perez, to her credit, looked great. Like she did just fine. She's got some cool moves. Like I like her double springboard moonsault. I also like whatever they call her move, where she bounces off the ropes, does a cartwheel, and like guillotine drops her shin on the back of her opponent's neck. That
Yeah.
looks nasty. I think that looks like a better finisher than one more tiny female or luchador using a code red slash, sunset flip power bomb as their finisher.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, in the latter part of the match, basically, Jade pretty much hits her with a spine buster, a choke slam, and a power bomb, and just bodies her until she's able to get to Jaded, and it's done.
Yep. That
It's
was
like
that.
she dead now. Um and there were a couple of other things that bothered me in this match. Like I really don't love Cargill needing to lick her opponent's face before she does a choke slam. I don't understand. Like, I'm getting a mixed message from the women. Not the first time this has happened to me in life, but you want to be taken seriously or you want to be objectified. You're objectifying yourself by licking your opponent's face. Like why? Just choke slam the life out of her. The choke slam was beautiful, by the way. It looked great.
Yeah.
Um, other than that, it was an okay match. I would have liked Cargill honestly to look more dominant, especially against an even younger rookie than herself.
Yeah.
But she didn't.
Nope.
And though she got the win, at the end she had a standoff with Asuka, the other person that she's now up against in this tournament. And it's very difficult for me to believe that Cargill is going to stand a chance against the veteran Asuka, especially when Asuka just in her like 1.5, and I think 2 matches at this point since her return has looked incredibly dominant. Like she is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, no, there's I think I've said this before. I said if Jade won and Oscar won, there just ain't no way. Uh, Oscar's gonna win that. She's gonna win that.
Yeah, I think on its face it absolutely looks that way. Um, so we'll see how it plays out because I have heard that they want to push Cargill into the stratosphere, and if that's the case, then she's going to have to get on some next level for me to believe that she can beat Asuka right now.
I mean, yeah, I kind of feel. Look, you can push her. That's cool. That's cool. But I want her to appear worthwhile for the pushing. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I agree with
yeah,
that. Like, it can't just be like, well, she's up for a push by Fiat. We have declared it, but like,
yeah,
and what we see happening in the ring doesn't make us believe it.
yeah. Like, oh, but she's a larger opponent, so clearly, look at her build, look at her physique. She should definitely win.
Yeah, and just looking at her, I would believe that. But then,
Yeah,
like, she's got to sell me on it with her in ring work.
absolutely. It can't just be the appearance for me. It's got to, and that's what I mean when I say that I hope that it's just not because of her physical appearance. I hope they're gonna give her a push because she's deserving of it. Uh oh my god, not Bronson, but he's
Breaker.
the Breaker. Thank you, Braun Breaker. Um I want to call him a Steiner so bad. Uh, but they didn't
It
just
would
give
be
him.
accurate.
Yeah, but they didn't just give him that because of his physique. They gave him that because that dude has earned it. He's earned the push that he's getting right now.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep, you're totally right. Like again, his lineage may have gotten his foot in the door, but he has had to step up. Like he's built the physique that he's got. He is good on the mic. He's gotten increasingly excellent in ring. So I mean, he's earning it.
Yeah.
Um so I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm just saying I want Jade to have earned it.
Indeed. I couldn't agree with you more. And she's going to have to if you want me to believe that she's going to wail on Asuka. Unless you're planning on having Naomi fuck with that somehow, you know?
Uh, you know, you might be onto something there.
Yeah, the only thing is that it would have to backfire because I can't see Naomi aiding Jade Cargill. So she'd have to screw it up in such a way that accidentally helps her or something.
Yeah. Hmm.
Or alternatively, she just outright attacks Cargill, which causes a disqualification, which means Asuka loses. Um, and then I guess Asuka's mad at Naomi. Uh, we'll see. But that's if they go that route with it.
Yeah. We shall see.
But following on from that match, we have a backstage segment where Sheamus is hanging out with the Alpha Academy and I forget what they're calling the dungeon dolls, I think was what they have named
Oh,
uh
yeah.
Natty and
Maxine.
Maxine Dupree. Which I guess is harkening back to the Stu Hart dungeon for Natty. But they're all hanging out back there with Sheamus, and Sheamus is giving a pep talk, talking about how Natty and Maxine definitely should be in, the running for the women's tag titles. And then they threw that back, and they were like, well, it was good to see you try and put Rusev in his place. And Akira Tozawa was about to say something to Sheamus, but then along comes a wayward Rusev. And Rusev basically says, I remember this from back when we were here, you are always the guy who likes to smile in your face but then stab you in the back with a knife. And Sheamus says, nah, man, I march to the beat of my own drum. And that beat is the beats of the Bodhrán, which I'm looking forward to, beating out on your chest. And I'm like, that sounds awful. Um, and Rusev, kind of sticking with that same line of thought, says, I prefer to handle my business in the ring. I handle my business in the ring like a god. You handle business back here like a snake. Which I thought was a pretty good line, and basically saying you can't get it done against me in the ring, so you have to politic back here. I'm like, that's pretty good. And Sheamus says, well, you know what I remember? I remember you being the most embarrassing and egotistical member of the League of Nations. And he says, I'm tired of talk. No more BS. Time to put up or shut up. And Rusev says to Sheamus, based on, Sheamus's memories of them in the League of Nations, he says, we're going to make new memories. And I thought this was a solid promo, and I'm here for this match because these are two guys that throw nukes. Like, these are big, giant men. Like this is the match where if you're going to slap, or chant meat, then this is the match for that. Like, these are the guys.
Yeah.
And so this is just going to be two powerhouses beating the crap out of each other, and I am 100% on board for this.
Yep, I'm here for it.
Oh, and now we get to the second nap. Would you like to discuss the second nap segment?
Oh, God. So Gunther came out there in his sockless shame.
Those socks with the loafers, you savage!
You savage! He came out and had a fit on the mic about Goldberg, and honestly, no one gave a shit. He came out and did his normal tantrum promo. This was all in response to the little bit of the interview that we saw between Michael Cole and Goldberg. That 30-minute nap.
Kohlberg.
Yeah. God, I don't like that. Oh, you said Kohlberg. Yeah, that's better. For some reason I thought you said Holberg.
Oh no, ew.
Yeah. Anyway. But Gunther said nothing's gonna happen except for I'm gonna beat you up, and maybe you were the most destructive man of your generation. Shots fired. But it's not 1999 anymore. It's 2025, and right now he's the guy, says Gunther. I'm the best professional wrestler in this company, in that company, WWE. So everybody, calm down. And the World Heavyweight Championship around my waist proves it. And you heard what Goldberg had to say, yeah?
There's no lie in that. He ain't wrong.
Yeah, no, he's not wrong. In that company, in this company. That he said he heard what Goldberg had to say. He was intense as always. Change his perception about him. And his perception is that he sees a 58-year-old one-trick pony that can't lace his boots.
Shots fired.
So he wants to be able to take a moment and officially apologize to his wife and to his son for everything that that Gunther's gonna do to the man that used to be Goldberg. Uh, and he's unlike anybody that he's ever stepped in the ring with. Like Gunther basically says he's a real one. He embarrassed him once, and at Saturday night's main event, he's gonna embarrass him dos.
Yep.
Because it is his personal responsibility to make sure that the legacy and the myth of Bill Goldberg forever dies. Mic drop.
Mic drop. Bars. Hey,
Bars.
I don't have to love that Gunter beat Jey Uso, but I do have to give Gunter his props. This dude is as good in the ring as he is on the mic, and he's everything that he says he is. The booking is not his decision, but he will take what he's given and he runs with it like a boss.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Excuse
If
me.
anything has come close to building any degree of hype for this match, it's Gunter coming out here and cutting his promo. Like, I was like, okay, now I half want to watch you beat the crap out of 58-year-old Bill Goldberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want to watch you beat the stuffing out of him.
Yep. Kill that myth. Murder it dead. Legend killer. Randy Orton, he's coming for your job.
Ah.
But following that promo from Daring General, we are taken backstage with Jackie Redmond, who is attempting to have an interview with Becky Lynch, but she didn't take her ADHD medications, so it was like watching a hyper squirrel try and answer a question and then decide that she said too much and run away. Ah!
Pretty
Um,
much. Like she scared her own shadow
yeah.
and bounced.
And so that immediately turns from an interview with Becky Lynch to Jackie Redmond seeing, I think, Sami Zayn. And so the camera pans over to Sami Zayn and somebody jumps off screen really quick. Like, I don't know who he was talking to, but they definitely didn't want to be on camera. They were like,
Yeah.
holla!
Yeah.
And she starts talking to Sammy, and I think she was like, "How is he processing his loss to Randy Orton from last week's SmackDown?" You know, those sensitive questions that understand the feelings of the wrestler involved. But she doesn't get to say much because Karrion Cross and Scarlett show up, and Cross said the weirdest amalgam of two different turns of phrase. He says, "I'm not trying to get under your nerves, Sammy," and I'm sitting there thinking, you can either get on someone's nerves or under their skin, but I have never heard of anyone getting under someone's nerves. That's a new one, Carrion. You just invented a weird turn of phrase.
A weird thing that you said.
It was weird. But he goes on to say that Sammy believed everything he said last week, but what happened? Sammy, you wrestled the Viper and you got dropped in the process. So when are you going to get it through your thick skull that the way you are, the way you behave is never going to result in you becoming the world champion ever? And Sammy just says, okay. After, making ponder face. I swear, Sammy, when he's looking like upset and pensive, reminds me so much of like Robin Williams, like the way he just sort of does his jaw.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. But he says, okay, very calmly. And then he punches the ever loving snot out of Cross. Like, I thought he shoot punched the fuck out of him. This
Yeah, I
punch
did
was
too.
so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. Like, it was right up there with that slap that Jimmy Uso gave to Gunter a little ways back before he got obliterated, before
Yeah.
Jay won the belt. It was a fantastic punch. Like, I don't know if you give awards for that, but there should be one. Like, it was good. Like, I thought he legit just punched the fuck out of Karrion Cross. And Sammy then squats down next to Cross, who is now on the ground and holding his jaw. And he says, I'm done talking. I had a conversation with Adam Pierce earlier, and our match is official. Tick tock. And that would have been a great opportunity for like Okada, like a little cutout of Okada to appear and just say bitch. Um, it was great. It was so good. But as Sammy leaves, he's dropped the mic, so he's exiting stage right. Scarlett leans in on Karrion and says, "Stop." And Karrion immediately quits selling that his jaw hurts at all. And he's like, "Got him." So apparently Sammy has played exactly into the plans of Karrion Kross. This is where he was trying to get all along. So
Yeah.
we shall see. But it is official that at Night of Champions, Sami Zayn will be facing off against Karrion Kross. And I look forward to seeing it because the one thing that Karrion Kross needs more of, because he's done all this backstage stuff, he's done phenomenal YouTube stuff, outside promos, that kind of stuff that gave him a lot of heat on the end of WrestleMania. But we haven't seen anything really manifest in the ring. And I need to see Karrion come and just demolish people in the ring to back up as much shit as he talks. Like, we need this if he's going to get a push. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is the beginning of that.
One hopes. 'Cause if not, I'm not really sure what they're doing.
Yeah, I really don't want to believe it's like this big road to nowhere and that they're going to burn all of the kind of clout that Karrion has built with the WWE universe. Like the WWE universe is clamoring for a push for Karrion Kross. And I know WWE creative hates that. They hate it when somebody organically gets themselves over and it's not part of their creative plans, but come on, man. Like, you got to give the people what they want. That's why Jey
Mhm.
Uso exists at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it, and I hope it goes somewhere cool. That said, that led us into our third match of the night, which is the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Bayley and the defending champion and ADHD Squirrel, Becky Lynch. And what were your thoughts about this particular matchup?
Uh, this is probably the better of the female matches of the night. No, not probably. It was. Um, and I mean, it should have been, right? You got two seasoned professionals in the ring. Um, but I thought it was like not just professionals, but you got two of the original four horsewomen or whatever. Um,
Precisely, yeah.
and so you got exactly what you were expecting. It was so good that I was fully invested in who was going to win the match, which is why the ending was so frustrating.
Yeah, feel free to go ahead and let it
Um,
out.
yeah, but this was a pretty good match where I was really into who was gonna pull out the win. Uh, we had Bailey giving Becky uh a ball slam or whatever what is her move
The
called?
the manhandle,
The
yeah, used her
manhandle,
own
yeah.
move.
Use her own move against her. I mean, we were seeing some crazy shit, and then Lyra comes out. Uh, under the guise of helping Bailey, because there was a point where Bailey got tossed across the announcer's desk, and over on the other side, like basically on the other side of the desk, where Becky was like, "Well, fuck this! I've seen Bloodline. I know what they do here." So that she just started burying Becky um underneath a whole bunch of chairs, and
Yeah.
just yeah, and that she was gonna get back in the ring and get the 10 count.
Right, which would
Um,
work in her favor because champion's advantage.
right. But of course Lyra comes out and she starts pulling stuff off of Bailey to help and get her out, and she does. And so I'm not gonna get into the weeds about her involvement or why she was out there, but originally it was under the guise to assist, and she did that. But then she, for some reason, ends up on the apron yelling at Becky, and then she jumps down because Becky's trying to get her to hit her. But then Lyra jumps down and backs away, and Bailey either pushes her slightly out of the way, or grabs her arm and like moves her out of the way, but she gets past her and gets back into the ring and continues the match. And everything's going just fine. Um, I don't know if there was another interaction between Becky and Lyra from that point, but I do know that at some point, whenever Bailey was on the top rope, I'm assuming she was about to do her finisher, uh, and Becky was down flat on the mat. Lyra jumps into the ring, literally just jumps on top of Becky and attacks her. It was it was like unprovoked in my opinion. Uh and it did nothing but ruin any chance that that Bailey had to win the match. The ref throws it
Yeah.
out because, she just jumps on. So
Yeah.
and I remember watching, and when she did it I went like
Well, by my recollection, there was a point starting from where you were talking about Lyra got up on the apron and was talking smack. But then she got back down and it looked like Becky was going to do some over the top rope or through the middle ropes kind of a drop kick thing to him. And if I recall correctly, Lyra pushed Bailey out of the way and ate that move from Becky.
yes,
And
yes.
that's when Bailey got a hold of Becky and threw her back into the ring. And so it felt like to me, even though it didn't make a lot of sense if Lyra didn't want to cost Bailey the match, but Lyra's retaliation by getting into the ring and grounding and pounding Becky was because Becky had done that like flying move out to her.
Yeah,
Um,
I honestly feel like, to me, there was a lot of space between that, and I agree. I remember, now that you mentioned it. Yes, there was definitely that little spot there. So what she was doing was a retaliation, but it felt
Delayed.
so, yeah, that I feel like she could have waited until Bailey won that match, and then if you want to jump in and beat her up, sure. Either way it goes, you were gonna look kind of like a heel. So I mean, I'm not really sure. One of them, Bailey could have won the match. The other, you purposely prevented her from winning the match.
Yeah, exactly so. And then Bailey kind of snaps at Lyra, not too bad, but like enough to call her like you cost me this match. This was about the
Yeah,
title. And they're kind of squabbing back and forth, and then the ring announcer says, "And the winner by disqualification." And Bailey the whole time is pointing to her ear, like, "Listen, you did this. Listen."
yeah,
To Lyra, and it's like winner by DQ, Becky Lynch, and so that more or less made her point. And Lyra's sitting there trying to reason with Bailey, and Bailey's just looking defeated. Like she didn't attack her or rose plant her or anything like that, because I think Bailey is trying to do a face turn thing. So she only did, I'm really disappointed.
yeah.
Um,
No, amazing resolve.
yeah,
Uh, Considering that because I mean, I don't know, I probably would have decked her, but
yeah, I would have expected at least a Bailey to belly or something like, look, it's all good, hug, we're friends, and then psych. But again, I think Bailey is trying to be the face in this situation, so that wouldn't be in line.
yeah,
It wouldn't have been like we can't understand why you did it, but it wouldn't have helped like a face Bailey.
yeah,
But what this all smells like to me is we're running up to a triple threat match again. More triple threats.
you're right. But hey, if it happens at main event, then we know that nothing's gonna happen.
Right? No belts move at main event.
It'll be a nothing match.
Yeah. So we shall see, but it's definitely painting the picture that there's going to be a three-way dance for this IC belt.
Yeah,
Um, but otherwise, I agree with you. If it hadn't been such a good match between Bailey and Becky prior, then Lyra's interference wouldn't have sucked so much.
yeah.
So a fantastic match, just didn't love the ending.
No, not crazy
Um,
about it, but for storytelling purposes, okay.
very good.
Yeah, yeah, very good. I believe after that, uh, Chad Gable was backstage with Ivy Nile, giving her some encouragement and encouraging words and whatnot. Uh, and he wants Ivy to embrace that killer instinct. Um, but then he sees Penta, who is just like, I don't want to hear your noise right now. And Gabe just keeps like provoking and poking the bear, and Penta's like,
Yeah.
I'm not feeling you right now. Shut up. Uh,
Abel is a troll. He walked up to
yes.
Penta and he's all like, "Far be it from me to poke someone while they're down, but
You already know whenever somebody starts off a sentence with some shit that they aren't allegedly doing, that they're doing that shit 10 times fold.
yep,
So, yeah, my man just came over with like Chad face, um, with his trolley Chad face,
trolley
and was
Chad
like, "Well, I'm not messing, but."
proceeds to be the messiest he can possibly be."
Proceeds to be the messiest. Um, but yeah, he just kept poking the bear until Penta super kicks him. And then he gave him the sacrifice.
Yeah, yep, and reminds Gable, "Cero miedo."
Yeah. And American Maid is running a check on Gable, and we see Ludwig Kaiser in the background, lurking.
I am not gonna lie, I was happy to see Ludwig there because like he felt like he disappeared for a while. I don't know if he had to go on vacation or if he was nursing an injury or something, but I'm glad that Ludwig was there, even if he was lurking in the background.
Yeah,
So I'm intrigued. Like, how does Ludwig fit into this particular dynamic? We will find out.
yeah. The plot thickens. And
Indeed.
speaking of thick, Raquel Rodriguez comes out to comes out to the ring. And she's still mad from that conversation that she had with the rest of Judgment Day backstage, especially Finn Balor, who be talking all that shit. So she comes out and she's mad, and she's like, Rhea, you're not gonna screw me out of cleaning the ring and get away with it. She tells her, girl, I can drag you out here by that nose ring, or you can make it easy for yourself and get in here and take the beating you deserve. Rhea's music cuts on. The audience implodes.
She
Uh,
chose option B.
yeah, she chose B. We saw our heads explode into confetti. Like people lost their shit. She comes out, and they go at it. And what needed to happen here was exactly what happened. Uh, Rodriguez ends up looking good. She looked dominant, man. There's a point where she brings the table into the ring. Um, but she doesn't get to set it up. Excuse me, I'm trying not to hiccup. I'm having hiccup attacks.
Oh no.
Nah,
Yeah. I
you take it
think
away. Take it away.
who I'm trying to remember. I think it was Rhea who actually got the table and she gets it into the ring and sets it up. And of course, this is crucial information, everybody. This is the Slim Jim table. Slim
Oh
Jim.
man, yeah,
Um,
the death
so
table.
Ripley sets it up and it looks like she's going to, she drags in Rodriguez and it looks like she's going to go for the Riptide.
And
But that's when, go ahead.
if I may, it was Rodriguez who pulled that table out. Because remember
Ah,
she had threw Rhea across the table, the commentators table, and then while she was getting that table, Rhea was on top of the commentators table, and she did basically almost like a Superman punch off of it,
oh, yeah, yeah.
and then she got into the ring and set that table up.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well remembered.
Thank you.
Um, but right when it looks like Ripley is going for the Riptide to Rodriguez through the table, out comes none other than Roxy Perez. And Roxy jumps on the back of Rhea Ripley like a chihuahua on, I don't know, a deer. I don't know. My analogy fell apart, but she climbed her like a spider monkey, basically.
Hey, there you go.
And Ripley converts that into lifting Perez, up into the electric chair position, and then dumps her face first into a top turnbuckle pad, and it looked ferocious for Perez.
Yeah.
But then she turns her attention and attempts to big boot Rodriguez, who counters by grabbing hold of the offensive leg and picking up Rhea Ripley pretty handily into the Tejana bomb, and Ripley gets dropped hard with a Tejana bomb through the Slim Jim table. And following that, Rodriguez sees that Perez is in one of the corners nursing her face wound, and she goes over and she helps her up, and they kind of, hug and are, looking very, very tag team-ish as
Yeah.
we end this segment. And I agree wholeheartedly. This needed to happen. We needed to see if we're building towards Rodriguez and Ripley, then we need to see Rodriguez looking like she could stand a freaking chance. And this
Yeah.
this helped that. Additionally, it also added to the likelihood of Perez standing in to be the new tag partner for Raquel. And they
Yeah.
can cite precedents. You let Naomi do it when Cargill got hurt. Um,
Yeah.
so I imagine them making that case to Adam Pierce. But it also fuels that Perez is replacing Liv and taking her
Yeah.
spot in
Yeah.
the
I
Judgment
mean,
Day.
honestly, if I didn't know, or if I didn't suspect that this was not a work about Liv's shoulder, I'd be, this is just this is perfect. This is
Right,
like
it
this.
would fit perfectly a storyline. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like just magic. So and again, sorry that you're hurt, but still, Jesus, this is like candy right here. This is when life gives you lemons.
Yep, yep. And it does. It absolutely, if it is a shoot injury, then get well soon, Liv. We don't Top Tier does not wish any ill will in that regard to any professional wrestler.
No, no.
However, if it's not shoot and it is in fact a work, then this is actually really good for the story you're trying to tell with the Judgment Day and Roxy Perez kind of getting in where she doesn't fit in.
Yeah,
Um, and so it's good stuff, like a very good bit of storytelling and making Rodriguez look like if she got in the ring with Rhea Ripley, it wouldn't be a completely lopsided affair. This is
yeah,
great.
yep,
So I was really pleased with that segment. It wasn't quite a match, but it had very match-like qualities as a promo, and it was great. Really well done here. Um, Following that, we get a brief bit where Asuka tells Io that she's going to see her at SummerSlam. And I have to assume that's Asuka presuming the win of Queen of the Ring.
yeah,
And I think that also solidifies that Damage Control is over. Like as a faction, that's
yeah,
done.
yeah. I think that pretty much solidifies it.
Yep. We're also briefly told that it is now official that Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross will fight at Night of Champions. And that leads us to our main event, the fourth match of the night, which is Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. Close friends in a match. Will they be able to be friends once it's over? We'll find out. But this is a semifinal round in the King of the Ring tournament, so it's for all the cookies. And what were your thoughts on Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes?
Um, I was expecting it to be fun. Good match. Good, and that's exactly what I got. And Jay Jay Uso, I just want to say a little bit about this dude. Now you guys know that I mark out for Jay, like like I think I'm not the only heel who has like posters of Jay. Like, okay, he's cool. All right, I want to be him when I grow up. Damn it. However, not only has he proven that he deserved the belt that he had, that he is an excellent competitor outside of being in a tag team, but he has proven that he is main event. Um, and this dude, he just keeps bringing it, man. He'll do other people's finishers. He's adopted moves that he has taken from other wrestlers and uses that now in his arsenal. Like he just looks good. He looks like a seasoned professional out there. And it's been amazing to see his developmental, his development, his growth towards the end, technically speaking, of his career. Because I don't know how long he would want to do this. He's already talking about like retiring and stuff like that. So I think I don't know. I can't say enough good things. There's a cat attacking me now. I can't say enough
Oh
good
no.
things about about what I've seen from Jay. And I mean, honestly, whether you like him or not, you cannot question that this dude has come into the ring and brought it as of late, man. Like he is a workhorse, him and his brother. But not only that, not only is he a reliable individual, but I mean, growth. Just nothing. Like he has risen to the occasion every single time, and this was no different. I thought him and Cody looked great together. They work very well together. You can see that they are like friends. That there is a connection. So there's a lot of things that
Absolutely.
yeah that they did that just looked good. Like there's trust there, and it looked good. This is probably one of the best matches I've seen Cody, or one of the best looking matches for Cody that I've seen in a long time. Cody looked great. Um,
Yeah,
I
Rhodes with a little rest is an impressive thing.
yeah, he looked very good in this match, and this was probably for me match of the night. Um,
Nice, nice.
yeah, it was definitely main event worthy. And all the false finishes, man. Okay. All right, Kat. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just to throw my 2 cents in on it,
Please.
I really liked this match because the story they were telling is that this is two friends that are out for a prize. It's not anything personal. They're probably not going to cheat to win, but because Rhodes and Jay know each other so well, they had to tap into variations of their offense in order to get the one up against one another. And in the case of Jay, what he did was he attempted to snag the crossroads and use that on Cody, surprise him with some offense that he hadn't seen. He also
Hmm.
threw in his newly acquired sleeper hold. For Cody, Cody had to dip out of his own move set and grab things he had from fellow friends and opponents over the years, which included him pulling out the Kimura lock that he had used in his, fights with Brock Lesnar back in the before times. Um, and in addition to hitting, the Cody cutter and then the super Cody cutter, he eventually ended up relying on an avalanche RKO from his friend Randy Orton
Yeah.
to set the stage for him to finally hit the crossroads on Jey Uso and pick up the victory. And this was a phenomenal match. I also like the fact that both of these two men, Jey Uso likes to kick a guy, and then when they're doubled over, he'll drop to one knee and do an uppercut slap. And similarly, Cody Rhodes has a very not too different move where he kicks them, and then when they're doubled over, he drops to his back and does an uppercut. And
Yeah.
we saw them trade that between each other. And then there was also like Jay has the yeet punch, right? Where he'll get like one, two, or three, haymakers, and then he does the dancing, spit in my hand, a la The Rock, slap the taste out of your mouth punch. Well, he tried that, and Cody counters by going into his punch series that leads to the bionic elbow from his father. And so there was really good kind of in-ring storytelling between these two throughout this match,
Yeah.
and it was really really good, like a phenomenal match. And I couldn't agree with you more at Jay Uso stepping into and up to the main event status that he has derived for himself. Not only is his persona as the Yeet Man like the most over thing in the entire industry of pro wrestling, like he has an entrance that will literally get the crowd all dancing, and that they will chant for him to do it just a little bit longer every time. But as you pointed out, he has adapted his in-ring work to, rise to the occasion. So
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of people out there that think Jay doesn't deserve to be in the spot that he's in. I'm not one of them. You're not one of them. I think
Mm-mm.
Jay has worked his ass off and has earned every piece of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So phenomenal match between these two. Absolutely, like, who won the match? It might have technically been Cody, but anybody who was watching it was a win. The WWE Universe got a big
Yeah.
win for
Yep.
watching this match. And then fantastically, no double crossing, no bullshit. When the match was over, they hugged, sportsmanship. It was good. It was just a solid, badass main event.
Yeah. Now, did you say who won?
Yeah, I mentioned that Cody picked up the victory.
Okay. Yo, you did. You did. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, uh, overall, this was a pretty entertaining episode of Monday Night Raw. There was
Yeah,
not a match that was super bad. There wasn't one that I was not very interested in. Um, I think everybody that showed up showed out. So, and I can't stress again that yes, Jade needs a little work, but she is a well worthy asset. Um, and I think that she has shown great improvement.
I agree.
Yeah. What do you think
So
about? Yeah.
overall, you can ask me first. I'll
Yeah.
I'll go first.
So,
Um,
George, what do you think? What would you rate this episode?
well, I'm glad you asked. I would have to give this a solid, probably 8 to 8.5 neck nubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't anything super high stakes, although we do have King of the Ring tournament winners.
Yeah.
Um, but it was all good. All of it was good. Like, it ranged from good or great. The main
Yeah.
event was great. Um, so yeah, a super solid episode. We've built some interesting storylines. Like, I'm curious to see, you've got Asuka threatening Io when they were just in Damage Control. That's compelling. You've got Sami Zayn and Karrion Cross maybe finally coming to blows at Night of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward with great interest there. We've got Ludwig Kaiser lurking in the wings as Grande America. I mean, Chad Gable continues to poke the Lucha Bear. Um, I mean, so it's all very, very good. I think the only kind of dangling participle for me in this was New Day Waller hanging out, and it's like, well, where's Theory in this equation? Um, but yeah, I mean, all of the major plots moved correctly, and many of the subplots are intriguing in and of themselves. So, I absolutely, this was top tier.
Yeah. I think I would give this definitely an 8. It was top tier. And like you said, like there was no real like huge stakes on the line, but there's been some setups happening. Uh, good storyline progression. Um, did leave us with questions like, what will the outfits for Maxine Dupree and And
I
that
mean,
they look like
if you're calling them dungeon dolls, we're gonna have to
exactly.
see it.
Yeah, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Important questions that everyone deserves an answer to. Um, yeah, this is definitely a good solid episode in my humble opinion.
Well, I happen to appreciate your humble opinion and agree. So
Yay.
this has been our top tier review of WWE Raw, and I want to thank everybody who has joined us for this episode. I know we had a little bit of time off. I had a shoot injury. It wasn't part of the storyline. But we're back, and I am very happy for everyone who has stuck with us. And I hope you will join us for our next episode, which should be our coverage of the upcoming Friday Night SmackDown. Until then, I don't think there's anything left for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys. Crack voice. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.